And the point here is that everything in the world eventually will be wireless, and you'll start to achieve greater technical capability with wireless than you will with optical technology. And in some countries, the markets are already wireless. And many markets will skip a broadband wired technology completely and only go into the web through mobile and play games through mobile devices. And so related to that is, why is this important to our future? This is a Tesla Roadster, which is a battery-operated car. Unfortunately, there is not, as far as I'm aware, a totally battery-operated Ferrari. Otherwise, I would have used that in deference to my hosts. But it's red, so it's about as close as you get. So is there a Moore's law for batteries? Now, the answer is actually no, there isn't a Moore's law for batteries, which is a shame, because batteries are much slower in the way they evolve. The power-to-weight ratio of what a battery does, and this is important for powering our next-generation devices. But still, battery technology is improving impressively year on year. But I read recently that somebody has suggested that if we really want to improve battery life, we need a new material. We need to go to an asteroid and find a new material, which I think is a bit of a tough ask for somebody. But there are ways to simulate new materials in laboratories. There's been a new kind of graphite that was made inside a laboratory. But what all this means, Moore's law plus Cooper's law plus the battery performance, is that multifunction mobile devices are becoming incredibly powerful, and they will continue to get more and more powerful. And we're looking at what you can do on an iPad or similar devices to an iPad. Imagine what you could do with an iPad technology 3, 5, 10 years from now. These are going to be supercomputers in our hands. We are going to get PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 quality graphics and processing in the palm of our hand, and all of the game opportunities that come with it. I thought this chart was great. This was Nielsen research in America. They did some research with kids aged between the ages of 6 and 12. This was just a few weeks ago, and the iPad was the #1 desired and interested in purchased product across America. Now, I thought that was stunning. This is 6 to 12-year-old kids who want iPads. They've obviously got rich parents. But it doesn't change that much when you look at people aged 13 and above. So computer, television set, non-iPhone, smartphone, and then iPad were the leading what people wanted to buy next. And I think this is showing that there is a revolution happening, and that it's going to move away from a fixed single-use device into mobile multi-use devices, and that, I believe, is an unstoppable trend. And this is basically how this is impacting our lives. This is not just about phones and games on phones. This is about multi-touch and always-on network-empowered devices, which I think are very powerful trends. Social on mobile is the next big wave. We've seen what DNA in Japan is doing. They've generated over $1 billion of revenue from a mobile social network. Social, mobile plus cloud plus local, meaning geolocation, I think is a very valuable combination that will create game design opportunities. I've seen some things recently about using the geolocation or kind of location capabilities of an iPhone to influence your game, and it's really cool what you could do when you know where your friends are and where people are geographically next to you. And think of screens rather than devices. You know, you're making services, not products. So you're making a service that should be operated on multiple screens, whether it's your web browser, whether it's your television set, whether it's your mobile phone, whether it's your game console, whether it's your car. You know, all of these technologies will be surfaced on multiple spaces. And these technology and social trends are moving incredibly fast, so fast, in fact, that I don't believe that the current industry leaders are going to be the leaders forever. I don't think we have seen the establishment of the oligarchs of the game industry. I don't believe that the battlegrounds have been set and the battle lines have been set. I still think that there is a startup somewhere that's maybe just an idea in somebody's head that could still create the next huge super company. And I often get asked this, if I'm about to start a new games company, what would be the advice that I would give? And in closing, and just in the last couple of minutes, I'd just like to go through a couple of slides about if I was to advise you on starting a games company, these are the 4 or 5 things that I would keep top of mind. First is think deeply about what is your minimum viable product. Now, what this means is, what is the smallest amount of money you can spend to deliver an experience that a player can actually engage in and potentially even pay you money for? What is the smallest amount of entertainment, of graphics, of technology, of gameplay that you can put into the game that will allow you to get that reaction and feedback from your audience and potentially even some money? And related to that is, what is the minimum viable company that you can create? What is the smallest organization that you can build in order to service the needs of those customers? Nailing your X. This is something which is crucially important, that you absolutely understand what it is you're building, not just in terms of the content, but your company. What is your company's special sauce? What is your company's unique difference? What is your product's unique difference? What is your product's unique point in the marketplace? And this is vital as you go in your mission to build a company, that you keep revisiting this and have utter clarity about it. The other thing is that kill your ugly children very quickly. Now, this is kind of a brutal expression, but it basically means use metrics and analytics, use audience feedback to kill the products or features of products that are not resonating with your customers. Make sure you use metrics and analytics to give you that tight reaction loop so that you can stop wasting time and money on features that are not gaining traction with your audience. Unlike the console industry, where you have to spend $30 million to get to the point where your customers can interact with your product, in this new world, you can spend $30,000. So your ability to create features, test them, and then react to them is improved. As I say over and over again, first principles, use metrics and analytics to underpin every decision you make inside your company to do with your product. Don't guess about game design anymore. Use metrics and analytics to inform your game design decisions. They will become more profitable, better, and more fun products for your players. Finally, be brave, ambitious, and audacious. This is a great time to start a games company, and I highly recommend that you do so, and that you have that as your passion, because I think the opportunities are there. And certainly I am incredibly enthusiastic and excited about the future of our industry. Thank you very much for your time. I don't know, Marco, if we have time for questions or whether you're... 2 questions, okay. You have questions? Yes, in the microphone coming to you. Or I can repeat the question if you like.
I mean, a lot of what you're talking about, all these new trends doesn't seem like we've got too long left for consoles like the Xbox, like the PlayStation 3, like the Wii. I mean, everything seems to be moving in a very different direction. I was wondering if you had any perspective on how much longer we've got before all of that disappears, and how Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, what place they'll have in the future, with particular reference to Nintendo, because they are very specifically creating products designed to play games and very little else. They don't offer as broad a range of services, certainly, so where in specific they'd fit into it.
I think it's too early to call the death of the console industry, but I think the industry is going to change from being that invest a couple of $1 billion, make it all up on software, hope it goes really well, and repeat. I don't think that cycle is going to happen again in the same way it has worked very well for the last 25 years. I don't think that's going to work so well in the future. But the thing that is valuable about what certainly Sony and Microsoft is doing is their network services. I think what will become console of the future is what you can probably see the foundations of it in PSN and Xbox Live. And I think that the console format of the future will move onto the network, and it will be powered by something like a PSN or something like an Xbox Live and all of the peripheral services and features that go with it. But I don't think the traditional market of spending that much money and making it all up purely on packaged software works. As it relates to Nintendo, they have a slightly different strategy. They spend less on hardware R&D and make it up on innovation on software because they've got some incredible brands and they have some incredible development talent. So I think they can continue to plow their own furrow for a while, but I don't think Nintendo can ignore the online industry, the online benefits. They seem to have ignored so